Only 8 people witnessed what happened at Graceland that night. Elvis Presley, Bruce Lee, Red West, and 5 members of the Memphis Mafia. For 50 years, none of them spoke publicly about it. Not because they were told to stay silent, but because what they saw was so shocking, so impossible, that they knew no one would believe them. A 340-pound former football player. A man who had protected Elvis Presley for 2 decades. A street fighter from Memphis who had never lost. Defeated in 11 seconds by a 140-pound martial artist. This is what really happened that night in 1970. This is the story they never told. Memphis, Tennessee, March 15th, 1970. Sunday evening, 8 p.m. Graceland Mansion sits on 13 acres of perfectly manicured lawn. White columns, wrought iron gates, the most famous house in America. Inside, the living room is pure 1970s luxury. White carpet thick enough to sink into. Gold accents everywhere. A grand piano in the corner. Velvet furniture in deep purple and gold. Crystal chandeliers imported from France, casting warm light across everything. The walls are covered with gold records, framed photographs, memorabilia from a career that changed music forever. Elvis Presley stands near the piano, wearing his iconic white jumpsuit. Not just any jumpsuit. This one is custom-made, covered in rhinestones that catch the light with every movement. Gold belt at his waist. High collar framing his famous face. The king of rock and roll. 35 years old, at the peak of his fame and power. He has become obsessed with karate over the past year. Earned his first black belt from Ed Parker. Practices every morning. Now he wants to learn from the best, and everyone says Bruce Lee is the best. Bruce arrived at Graceland 2 hours ago. Invited personally by Elvis after the King saw him on the Green Hornet television show. Elvis had been so impressed by Bruce's movement, his speed, his presence, that he tracked him down through Hollywood connections and extended a personal invitation. Come to Graceland. Teach me. Show me what you know. Bruce accepted, not because Elvis was famous. Bruce had trained plenty of famous people, but because Elvis was genuinely passionate about martial arts. That passion was rare. That passion deserved respect. He stands in the center of the room now, simple black kung fu uniform made of raw silk. Traditional Chinese collar buttoned to the neck. No shoes on the pristine white carpet. 5 feet 7 inches tall. 140 pounds of lean muscle and explosive power. Compact. Precise. Every movement deliberate and efficient. His eyes are alert, aware of everything in the room. Every person. Every movement. Every energy shift. 5 members of the Memphis Mafia occupy the velvet couches arranged in a semicircle. Elvis's inner circle. His friends. His employees. His protection. Joe Esposito, road manager and closest confidant, sits forward with his elbows on his knees, watching intently. Sonny West, Red's younger cousin, leans back with his arms spread across the couch. Jerry Schilling, the youngest of the group, takes mental notes. Charlie Hodge, Elvis's vocal harmony partner, watches with curiosity. Lamar Fike, the jokester of the group, for once has nothing funny to say. They watch Bruce with curiosity. Some impressed by what they've been witnessing. Some skeptical of these foreign martial arts. All polite, because this is the king's house and the king's guest. Elvis is genuinely fascinated. He's been asking questions for the past hour about Wing Chun, about Jeet Kune, about the philosophy behind the movements. Bruce answers each question with patience and depth. They discuss the philosophy of martial arts, the connection between mind and body, the concept of no mind that Bruce learned from his teacher Yip Man, the idea that water can be powerful not because it resists, but because it flows. Elvis absorbs every word, takes notes in a leather journal, asks follow-up questions. This is why Bruce agreed to come. This genuine hunger for knowledge. But one man in the room is not fascinated. One man is not impressed. Red West stands near the doorway leading to the kitchen, arms crossed over his massive chest, feet planted shoulder-width apart. 6 feet 2 inches of solid muscle and bone, 340 pounds of Memphis toughness, massive shoulders that barely fit through standard door frames, thick neck like a tree trunk, hands like baseball gloves, scarred knuckles from decades of street fights. His face is weathered, lined from sun and stress. His eyes are sharp, constantly scanning, always assessing threats. Red is Elvis's cousin and head of security. Has been with Elvis for 20 years. Since before Sun Records. Since before the name Elvis Presley meant anything to anyone. They grew up together, played football together, got in fights together. Red has been there for every step of the journey. Red's job is simple. Keep Elvis safe. From overzealous fans. From death threats that arrive weekly. From mob-connected promoters. From stalkers. From anyone who might cause harm. And Red takes his job seriously. Deadly seriously. He has been in hundreds of confrontations over the past 2 decades. Bar fights when Elvis's presence attracted trouble. Backstage altercations with people who got too comfortable. Dealing with obsessed fans who climbed fences. Handling mob promoters who didn't like contract terms. Physical ejections of troublemakers from concerts. Protecting Elvis from his own generous nature when strangers asked for money. Red has faced them all. Big men, small men, armed men, drunk men, crazy men, dangerous men, and Red has never lost a fight. Not once in 20 years. Not because he's the most skilled fighter. Red knows he's not a martial arts master. He never studied karate or kung fu or judo. But he doesn't need to be. Because at 340 pounds, he outweighs most men by 100 pounds or more. When you're that much bigger, technique becomes secondary. Mass wins. Weight wins. Physics wins. That's what Red believes. That's what his experience has taught him. That's reality. Grab a man. Use your size. Use your weight. Control him. End the threat. Simple. Effective. Proven. So when Elvis started inviting martial artists to Graceland 6 months ago, Red tolerated it. Let the boss have his hobby. Karate is good exercise, good discipline. Nothing wrong with that. Red even attended some sessions, watched Elvis learn forms and techniques, nodded politely. But this Bruce Lee character is different. Elvis isn't just interested. He's reverent, hanging on every word like it's gospel, asking to be taught like a humble student, treating this small Chinese man like he's some kind of master. And that bothers Red, because Red has been protecting Elvis for 20 years. He knows what real danger looks like. He knows what real fighting is. And this kung fu demonstration, this philosophical discussion about water and formlessness, this isn't real fighting. Real fighting is what happens when a drunk weighing 250 pounds charges at you backstage with a broken bottle. Real fighting is 3 men jumping you in a parking lot. Real fighting is grabbing someone and using your size to control them. Technique doesn't matter when you're 100 pounds heavier. Red watches Bruce demonstrate a Wing Chun technique on the air. Fast hands, precise movements. Impressive for a demonstration. But it's just a demonstration. No resistance. No real opponent. No real test. Elvis claps enthusiastically. Incredible! Red, you seeing this? Red grunts. Seeing it. Bruce turns, meets Red's eyes. There's no challenge in Bruce's expression, just awareness. He knows Red isn't impressed. Elvis doesn't notice the tension. Bruce, can you show that again? The trap and strike. Of course. Bruce resets his position, demonstrates again. Slower this time, explaining the mechanics. Red shifts his weight. His jaw tightens. Joe Esposito notices. He's known Red for 15 years. He recognizes that look. Joe leans toward Sonny West, whispers, "Red's about to say something." Sonny glances at Red, nods. "Yeah, I see it." Bruce finishes his demonstration. Elvis asks another question, and that's when Red speaks. "Boss, can I ask something?" Elvis turns. "Sure, Red. What's on your mind?" Red steps into the room. His presence fills the space. 340 pounds moving with surprising ease. "No disrespect to Mr. Lee," Red says, his voice carrying that southern drawl. "But all these techniques you're showing, they look real good when nobody's fighting back." The room goes quiet. Bruce stands perfectly still, listening. Red continues. "What I mean is, in a real situation, against a real opponent, someone bigger, stronger, do these techniques actually work?" Elvis looks uncomfortable. Bruce's expression doesn't change. "That's a fair question." "Because," Red says, stepping closer, "I've been protecting Elvis for 20 years. I've handled real threats, real dangerous people. And in my experience, when it comes down to it, size matters. Weight matters. Strength matters." He stops about 6 feet from Bruce. The size difference is absurd. Red towers over him, outweighs him by 200 pounds. "I'm not saying your kung fu isn't impressive," Red says. "I'm saying it's for movies, for demonstrations. But in a real fight comes down to who's bigger." Bruce nods slowly. "You believe size is the most important factor. I don't believe it. I know it. I've lived it." Elvis stands up. "Red, maybe we should—" "It's okay," Bruce says quietly. His voice is calm. No anger, no defensiveness, just calm. He looks at Red. "You want to know if what I teach works against someone your size?" "I do." "Then let's find out." The room erupts in voices. Elvis protesting. Joe Esposito standing up. Sonny West trying to mediate. But Red's eyes are locked on Bruce. And Bruce's eyes are locked on Red. Neither man moves. Elvis steps between them. "Red, this isn't necessary. Bruce is our guest." "Boss, I'm not trying to disrespect your guest. I'm trying to show you reality. You're paying people to teach you self-defense. I need you to understand what works and what doesn't." Bruce speaks. "Elvis, it's fine. Red has a legitimate concern. He protects you. He needs to know if what I teach has value. I understand that." Elvis looks at Bruce. "You sure?" "I'm sure." Elvis looks at Red. "You promise me this stays controlled. Nobody gets hurt." Red nods. "Just a demonstration, boss." Elvis hesitates, then steps back. "All right, but the second I say stop, you stop. Both of you." "Yes, sir." Red says. Bruce simply nods. The Memphis Mafia members exchange glances. This is either going to be very interesting or very bad. Joe Esposito moves closer to Elvis, ready to intervene if necessary. The white carpet becomes an impromptu arena. Furniture is pushed back slightly. Red removes his jacket. Underneath, he's wearing a tight black t-shirt that shows every muscle. His arms are enormous. His chest is a barrel. He rolls his shoulders, cracks his neck. Old habits from his football days. Bruce doesn't prepare. He simply stands there, hands at his sides, breathing normally. The contrast is striking. David and Goliath. Except no one in this room believes David has a chance. Except maybe Bruce. Red settles into a stance. Hands up. Weight distributed. Ready. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Lee, Red says. Bruce doesn't move. You're sure about this? Never been more sure of anything. Then come. Red frowns. You want me to attack first? You're the one who wants to demonstrate that size wins. Demonstrate. Something flickers across Red's face. Respect, maybe. Or uncertainty. But he's committed now. In front of Elvis. In front of the whole crew. He can't back down. Red takes a step forward. Testing, gauging distance. Bruce doesn't react. Red takes another step. Closer now. Within striking range. Still, Bruce doesn't move. Red makes his decision. He's going to grab Bruce. Use his size. Use his weight. Pin him down. He reaches out with both hands. Fast for a man his size. Going for Bruce's shoulders. What happens next will be debated by the 8 witnesses for the rest of their lives. Bruce moves. Not backward. Not away. Forward. Into Red's attack. His left hand intercepts Red's right wrist. Not grabbing, just redirecting. A touch so light it seems impossible that it could affect a 340-pound man's momentum. But it does. Red's right hand is pushed offline, just inches, just enough. At the same time, Bruce's right hand shoots forward, palm open, aimed at Red's solar plexus. The connection is precise, surgical. A point just below Red's sternum, where nerves cluster. The sound is sharp, a crack that echoes through the living room. Red's eyes go wide. His mouth opens. No sound comes out. Because Red can't breathe. The strike has compressed his diaphragm, triggered a spasm in his respiratory system. His lungs are trying to expand, trying to draw air, but the signal from his brain isn't reaching the muscles. He's suffocating while standing upright. His hands drop. They go to his chest. Instinctive. Trying to fix what's wrong. His knees buckle. 340 pounds of muscle begins to collapse. Bruce steps to the side. Lets gravity do its work. Red hits the white carpet with a sound like a sack of concrete dropping. He rolls onto his side, gasping. His face is red. Veins standing out on his neck. The room is frozen. Elvis stands with his hand halfway to his mouth, shocked. Joe Esposito stares, unable to process what just happened. Sonny West's mouth is open. Charlie Hodge hasn't blinked. Lamar Fike whispers, "Jesus Christ." Bruce kneels beside Red, breathes slowly. The spasm will pass. You're not injured. Red can't respond. His body is in crisis. His mind is screaming. His lungs are refusing to obey commands. After what feels like an eternity but is actually about 15 seconds, the spasm releases. Air rushes into Red's lungs. He gasps, coughs, gasps again, color slowly returns to his face. Bruce stays beside him. That's it. Slow breaths, you're fine. Red rolls onto his back, staring at the chandelier. His chest is heaving. His heart is pounding. He just got taken down by a man half his size in... how long was that? He tries to replay it in his mind. He reached for Bruce. Then he was on the ground. Everything between those two moments is a blur. Maybe 5 seconds. Maybe 10. Bruce stands, offers his hand. Red looks at it for a long moment, then takes it. Bruce helps pull him to his feet, which shouldn't be possible. 140 pounds pulling up 340 pounds. But somehow it works. Bruce's positioning, his leverage, his understanding of body mechanics. Red stands unsteadily. His pride is wounded worse than his body. Elvis rushes over. Red, you okay? Red nods. His voice is hoarse. I'm fine, boss. What happened? I barely saw anything. I don't know. Red looks at Bruce. What did you do? Bruce's expression is respectful. No mockery, no triumph. Intercepted your attack. Disrupted your breathing, used your forward momentum against you. I'm 340 pounds. I know. You're what, 140? Closer to 138 today. Red shakes his head. He looks at Elvis. Boss, whatever this man charges, pay double. This is real. Elvis laughs, relief and amazement mixing together. Red, you sure you're okay? My pride's bruised. But yeah, I'm okay. Red extends his hand to Bruce. Mr. Lee, I apologize. I was wrong. Bruce shakes his hand. You weren't wrong to question. A bodyguard should question, should test. That's your job. But I was wrong about size being everything. Size matters, Bruce says. But it's not the only thing that matters. Timing matters. Precision matters. Understanding the human body's vulnerabilities matters. He gestures to where he struck Red. The solar plexus is a weak point. Doesn't matter how strong you are. Doesn't matter how big. If someone knows exactly where to strike and how to strike it, the body shuts down. Red touches his chest. I couldn't breathe. Because your diaphragm spasmed. It's not permanent. It's not dangerous. But for those few seconds, your body stopped obeying your brain. Joe Esposito speaks up. How long did that take, start to finish? Sonny West looks at his watch. I was timing it. From when Red reached out to when he hit the ground, 11 seconds, maybe less. 11 seconds, 340 pounds, 20 years of experience. A man who had never lost a fight, defeated in 11 seconds. The room is silent as everyone processes this. Then Elvis starts laughing, not mocking laughter, the laugh of someone who just witnessed something incredible. Bruce, that was... I don't even have words for that. Bruce smiles. Thank you for allowing me to demonstrate. Demonstrate? You just showed me that everything I thought I knew about fighting was wrong. Not wrong. Incomplete. Size and strength are important. Red was right about that. But they're tools, not the entire toolbox. Red has caught his breath now. His color is normal. His pride is still wounded, but he's processing the lesson. Can you teach me that? Red asks. Bruce looks at him. The technique? All of it. The way you move, the way you see. I've been protecting Elvis for 20 years. I thought I knew how to fight, but I don't. Not like you do. You know how to fight, Bruce says. You just learned there are other ways to fight. Elvis puts his hand on Red's shoulder. You all right, cousin? Yeah, boss. Just got my education tonight. Elvis looks at Bruce. How often can you come to Graceland? As often as you'd like. I'd like once a week. I want to learn everything you can teach me. And I want Red to learn too. Red nods. Yes, sir. I'd appreciate that. Bruce bows slightly. I would be honored. The rest of the evening passes differently than anyone expected. Instead of tension, there's curiosity. Everyone has questions. How did you move that fast? How did you know where to strike? Could you teach us that technique? Bruce answers patiently, demonstrates on willing volunteers, explains the philosophy behind the techniques. Red watches everything with new eyes, asking his own questions, taking mental notes. He's been protecting Elvis for 20 years. He's been doing it with size and strength. Now he realizes there's an entire dimension to fighting that he never explored. As the evening winds down and Bruce prepares to leave, Elvis walks him to the door. Thank you for tonight, Elvis says. Not just for what you showed me, for what you showed Red. He needed that. He's a good man, Bruce says. Loyal, protective. Those are valuable qualities. He is, but he's also stubborn, set in his ways. Not anymore. You saw his face. He's open now, ready to learn. Elvis nods. Come back next Sunday? I'll be here. They shake hands. Elvis watches Bruce walk to his car, a small figure crossing the vast lawn of Graceland. A 140-pound martial artist who just changed everything. Inside, Red sits on the couch. Joe Esposito sits beside him. You okay? Joe asks. Red touches his chest again. He hit me right here. Barely felt the impact, but my whole body shut down. That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Joe, I've been in hundreds of fights, against men bigger than me, against multiple opponents. I've been hit with chairs, bottles, fists. I've never been knocked down that fast. You weren't knocked down. You were turned off. Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like someone flipped a switch. They sit in silence for a moment. Then Red laughs. Short, sharp, the laugh of a man whose worldview just exploded. You know what the worst part is? What? He was gentle about it. He could have hurt me, really hurt me, but he didn't. He just taught me a lesson. That's probably worse than if he'd knocked you out. Way worse. Sonny West walks over. You gonna train with him? Every week, Red says. I protect Elvis. If there's something out there that makes my protection better, I need to learn it. Even if it means admitting you were wrong? Especially if it means admitting I was wrong. The 8 witnesses that night never spoke publicly about what they saw. No interviews, no tell-all books, no documentaries, because they knew the story sounded impossible. A 340-pound bodyguard, defeated in 11 seconds by a 140-pound martial artist. In Elvis Presley's living room, on white carpet. Who would believe that? But it happened. Red West continued as Elvis's head of security until 1976. He trained with Bruce Lee every week for 2 years, learning Wing Chun, learning Jeet Kune Do, learning to see fighting as more than just size and strength. He never forgot those 11 seconds. The lesson that changed everything he thought he knew. The night he learned that being the biggest man in the room doesn't mean you're the most dangerous. Bruce Lee taught him that. On a Sunday evening in March 1970, at Graceland Mansion, in front of 8 witnesses who would carry the secret for 50 years. Because some stories are too incredible for public consumption. Some moments belong only to those who witnessed them. But the truth remains. It happened, every word of it. And those 11 seconds changed martial arts history, one bodyguard at a time.